trained remote viewer. I was trained as a psychic spy, which has created an awful lot of issues uh, having to do with trust. Why should we listen to her? We don't trust her. You don't need to trust me. I wish that your instinctive knowing was well honed and developed to where you can listen to something that I say and know whether what I just said was trustworthy or not. I understand the struggle that people have with the fact that I was trained as a psychic spy. Was not my choice consciously in this incarnation. I was put in a program, a secret program, since I was a child. So you shouldn't hold it against me. But before I incarnated, I did choose to be positioned so that I would be able to have an incredible level of information in order to be able to help planet Earth in this transition we're in all this chaos. And you know what? That place ended up being the US military in a secret program. So, what are we doing here today? We are discussing how to do business in the midst of, we're not going to use the word chaos yet because we haven't gotten there. We may, I hope not. How do we do business? How do we stay creative? How do we have new projects? How do we innovate when we are so plastered to the floor? The level of our stress is such that we struggle to get up every day and to perform according to the minimum requirements of whatever it is that we do as an employee, as a boss, as the owner of a company, the, the guy who runs a country. But the lack of vitality is frightening. And the enthusiasm necessary to continue to keep the position in this country, the United States, that we had previously, that enthusiasm is not there. The vitality is not there, and the creativity is not there. And we don't even need to talk about joy because there is none. So, what am I doing about that? Being it that I knew what I was coming into when I incarnated in this particular lifetime, well, your vitality is very associated with your second chakra, which is 2 inches below your belly button, and it likes water. That's the element that keeps it moving. So going to the beach a lot is going to help you a lot. It'll reduce the fire that has everybody so frustrated. And joy is also in the second chakra. Most people don't know that. The name of the second chakra in Hinduism means joy. It means sweetness. Where's the sweetness on the planet? Where's the joy? Doesn't exist because the second chakra is beaten up. Why is it beaten up? The fact that there's so much pornography is an indicator, but it's beaten up because we have so much Wi-Fi, and Wi-Fi is microwave. Microwave evaporates water. Water is the element of the second energy center, which is where your joy, your creativity is, and a lot of your vitality. So, continuing on, having to do with what are we going to do about this? What is it that I suggest? And what I suggest is what I suggested many years ago when I worked. It was my first proper job after letting people know that I had secretly been in this program and I had been a psychic spy for a long time. And I decided to turn my talents towards something like this. What is it that we need to do now? What is it that can help now in order to be able to thrive in the midst of this massive depression? The first thing you can do is imagine that you're sleeping and sitting on top of a lotus flower. Lotus flowers can thrive even in swamps, and we are today living in a swamp. A swampy planet Earth is swampy. What is swampy? Not pH balance, and it's where Mother Earth puts spirits that haven't gone to the light yet. Okay, so what do we do about this? So years ago, I was contracted by a huge corporation, actually one of the oldest on the planet, international, and I was contracted for strategy. That's an appropriate placement. But there were huge issues in the level of stress was such that the people in a particular department that earned 200 and 300,000, this was 20 some years ago, that was a lot of money then, were behaving just like truckers. One of them had trashed an office. They were arguing. They were almost fist fighting, something unheard of in their suits. And so I was asked as a strategist, what do we do about this? Should we give them raises? And I said, money doesn't seem to be the issue. Stress management. I said, that's what you have to do. And so the company said to me, okay, we're going to do that. So I came back another 3 weeks because I would go once a week. And they had not found somebody to do the stress management. I'm not sure they even looked because they were overwhelmed. And so they turned to me and said, you do the stress management. I said, I don't do stress management. I'm a consultant. I don't do that. They said, yeah, you can do this. You can do this. And they turned away and said, you do it. So I went ahead and I read up on it and I put together a program of stress management, which is basically techniques that are thousands of years old. And I gave my first stress management session. And I continued to give them until the company was taken over. Wasn't taken over, but it got a new boss for the chapter that I worked for, which is not called the chapter, for the divisions that I worked for. And he couldn't quite understand how I could be a strategist, so I was out. But before I left, the stress management program was the highest rated program that they had in their HR department. And what did I teach them? What I'm going to teach you now. So you need to figure out right now, how do you feel? From 1 to 10, you're going to rate yourself. You can do this. It's an estimate. You're not going to get graded. How do you feel from 1 to 10? And at the end of this, you're going to rate yourself again. And you may find that you have reduced your stress dramatically. So I'd like for you, for those of you that are listening to this on the podcast, you need to go to the internet and put in white and gold dress controversy. Here in the video, I'm holding it up, and you should look at this photograph of a dress. This is a controversy from years ago. Some people see it in different colors, and it all has to do with your vibration. So for those that are listening to the podcast, find this, print it up, put it on your refrigerator or in your bathroom mirror, and when you see that the dress gets darker colored, your vibration dropped. Everything you touch will not be turning to gold. And that's the point. For your vibration to be high, so that everything that is emitted in the other dimensions from you is positive and creates positive things. And everything that you literally touch with your hands also has the potential of turning into gold. And being it that we're going into the golden age, according to the Bible and everybody else, it might be nice for you to be able to have that energy and have it running through you. So 2 feet on the ground. Then go ahead and look at the inside of your hands and get the 2 middle fingers and touch them to your thumbs. Hopefully you're not driving. If you are, then just do one hand. 2 middle fingers, touch it to the thumb, and then notice how you're breathing deeper. And notice my voice has now gotten softer and more feminine. I'm less stressed, which means that I am automatically more intelligent at this point. And so will you be. And when people speak to you, you're actually going to be able to hear them. Because today we can't hear each other. We're too stressed. So this is a hand position called the Aprana Mudra, Aprana Mudra. You can look it up on the internet. It's been used for thousands of years. So I would like for you to have 2 feet on the ground. If you are driving, it's not an issue. Pay attention to the road. And I would like you to, let's go to the purification mantra, which is a vacuum cleaner. It is not an affirmation. It's a vacuum cleaner. When you put a vacuum cleaner on the ground, you're not you are kind of affirming that there's dirt there, but that vacuum cleaner has an intention to lift up that dirt and out. The purification mantra does the same thing. It finds the garbage, lifts it up and out via your breath and the words. The words are going to be, even though I'm exhausted, I love and accept myself. Even though I'm exhausted, I love and accept myself. So go ahead and breathe. Do not move your mouth with the words. Release your breath through your mouth. And if you're sitting in an office or someplace, 2 feet on the floor, your hands in that mudra position, and keep breathing, expelling through the mouth, repeating the words in your head. Do not move your mouth with the words. Even though I'm exhausted, I love and accept myself. It's so interesting. I can see some of you driving in your cars, probably in the future, because I am multidimensional. This time travel with the head is very simple because there is no time in the other dimensions, which makes it really interesting. We're not going into that. So even though I'm exhausted, I love and accept myself. And I feel more relaxed just repeating the words, even though I'm saying them out loud. If you do it out loud, then it's very, very hard to keep doing it for a long time because you get very tired. So now let's try the other purification mantra. Even though I'm depressed, I love and accept myself. Even though I'm depressed, I love and accept myself. Do not move your mouth with the words. Expel the breath through your mouth. When I did this second mantra, I could feel like my waist and the back kind of settled in. It kind of dropped in. I guess I was so tense I was sitting up too straight on the chair. And even doing it under these conditions, I could feel my body shifting because it's relaxing. And those of you, even if you're driving a car or a truck, you can probably feel things happening in your body due to the movement of negative energies, which now are the depression, and the one from before is the exhaustion. It's getting moved out of your tissue. And you might find that your breathing is better. I think I would have had a problem with my lungs if I did not do so many mantras, which keeps me breathing rhythmically all day and all night. If I didn't do mantras the way I do them, I suspect that I would have gotten a tremendous congestion in my chest. And anything that can happen to a lung that's congested would have happened to me, and it hasn't. So the mantras have a tremendous benefit on the health of your physical body. If you get tired enough, wherever it is in your body that you're holding that feeling and that thought, that part of you becomes less healthy. And then eventually it becomes sick. The parts of your body that are sick are holding information and holding emotions, negative emotions. The positive emotions flow. The negative ones don't. So you might want to right now check yourself and see, where are you from 1 to 10? 1 is you feel so bad you want to die. 10 is you feel great. You know what you were before we started this podcast. Where are you right now? I'm a lot more relaxed, and I haven't done that many mantras. And I don't really relax during chats. I do relax when I do the mantras during chats. And as you can tell from my voice, that I have relaxed. So where are you at? Keep breathing. We're going to go to the next mantra, which is the intention mantra. Please, God, help me with my intention to be prosperous now. I like the word now because I'm very impatient. Please, God, help me with my intention to be prosperous now. And keep breathing. Expel through your mouth. Keep breathing. You can actually, your root chakra, which is the energy center that's most associated with prosperity, is actually in between your legs. It's the lowest part of the trunk of your body. You can actually visualize, or with your breath, direct those words in between your legs. You'll be waking up that part of you, which many of you didn't even know existed until you listened to this podcast or this chat. but you want it stimulated. And the color of that energy center is red. And it's why in feng shui, they recommend you paint your front door red. And the front door in feng shui is connected to your career because it's connected to your root chakra energy center. So breathing into that center is very good for your prosperity. Please, God, help me with my intention to be prosperous now. Now my shoulders relaxed. So if, let's say, the banks collapse, let's say there's a royal battle in Washington, D.C., and we don't know which end is up, or something big happens economically to where we all become concerned about whether we're going to be able to sustain the economy, the bank account, the job, whatever, then that mantra you should change and you should change the words to, please God, help me with my intention to be prosperous even in the midst of chaos. Wow, I'm certainly breathing deeply. It's almost like saying that mantra kind of reassured me and reminded me again. But you need to pay attention to what I'm saying, but you need to pay attention to your body because your body talks to you. Your body, every inch of your body has your mind in it. And when you change your mind or you purify your mind, which is what these mantras are, you are creating change in different parts of your body. So let's say if you have huge economic issues, you could get hemorrhoids. And what's hemorrhoids got to do with prosperity? Associated with the root chakra, and the root chakra is associated with the colon, the end of the colon, the anus. So hemorrhoids, you worry too much or you have too many problems associated with prosperity. So taking your breath down there will also make that area much healthier. Now, these are the connections that I want for you to start making, which makes you look at life multidimensionally. You are not just your physical body. Everything happens first in the other dimensions. Your physical body is a symptom, and a pretty pathetic symptom, because once you have a symptom in your physical body, you got a problem. Now, I can look at you and say, if you don't do something, you're going to have cancer in 2 years. And you can go to the doctor, and the doctor say, you don't have cancer. No, you don't in your physical body yet. You got that? Or I can look at your business and say, this is not going in a good direction. Numbers are great. Not going in a good direction. And the validation. I only say these things because I've spent 30 years watching myself to ensure that what I'm saying has been verified, validated, and that I am not going to be ashamed to pass it on to you. Because if it's the luck of the draw, or I'm getting it right 50 or 70% of the time, that's not good enough for me. And it shouldn't be good enough for you either. So if I'm saying something, I think you can pretty much count on it. So you just did the purification mantra, which is a vacuum cleaner, and you can adjust the words. And you did the intention mantra, which goes ahead and very gently shakes up your energy system and the energy's bodies to make them point in one direction. The mantra was, please God help me with my intention to be prosperous now. You want to be pointed in that direction. It literally, you shoot out a vector. I love Elon Musk for that. He's very instinctive and supposedly, without being psychic, he can see or understands a lot of things. So that vector, which shoots out when you have an intention, needs to be energized. And you cannot have 10 different vectors shooting out from your energy bodies, because that's all your energy divided by 10. And there's the issue. The whole multitasking debilitates your intentions. You're not allowed to energize one thing. Saying this story makes me aware that I'm not a good boss. I should never be a boss. But when I'm a boss, I kind of make people do several things at a time because I do that and I shouldn't do that. And I just realized I'm asking them to do three things, and then I'm giving them three things, and then they cannot energize all three to the level that I want them energized. But how can they if it's three things rather than one? So when you do the intention mantra, basically it's collapsing the other vectors that shoot out naturally and funneling everything into that major intention mantra of being prosperous now. So let's say there's huge news that's horrible on the planet, in this country, or in your company, or with your job. And you're like, oh my God, you're not going to be energizing that vector for being prosperous. You are going to be shooting out many vectors. How are we going to pay the bills? Oh my God, are we going to have to let go of employees? Whatever, all of that. Each one of those is going to be a vector. You're devitalizing your major vector to be prosperous now. And the worse the news and the more you talk about it, the more you take away vitality from your primary vector, which should be vitalizing your intention to be prosperous and knocking away the things that would cut into that, which at this point can be your exhaustion and your depression. So, this is the kind of stress management that I came up with. We called it mental yoga, and it is 25 years ago. And it was the highest rated program for a very large international company. It works because as a remote viewer, I don't work with theories and thoughts and let's try this. Okay, let's try it, but I'm going to look and see what happens. And when I see that what I want happening is not happening in the other dimensions, which is where reality is created, then let's stop doing this. Whereas other people have to keep doing it and do little statistics and little numbers to figure it out and compare and all the rest of that. I don't have that. I don't have those restrictions. I can see what it is that happens, and we are going to have a lot more sketches about the shifts in your energy bodies when you do a mantra. As a matter of fact, the book that I just published, which is on Amazon, it's called Creation from Victim to Master. The last chapter was totally improvised because I got the information when the book was already ready to go to be published, and so I just added it. So it's not as smooth, the text, as I would want, but you should look at it. And I'm going to put it up separately so you don't even need to buy the book, even though you should, if you want to become a master of your life in the midst of chaos, because we're already living in entirely too much chaos. There's too many things happening today that never happened before. So you have to be able to hop and skip really fast to keep up. And the whole issue of being innovative, people don't have the energy to deal with what's on their plate. Innovation is creativity. Guess where creativity is held? In your physical body and all the energy bodies in the same location. In that second chakra, 2 inches below your belly button. That's called the sacral chakra, which is where your sexuality is channeled, your creativity, a lot of your vitality, and manifestation. So you might want to look at our old podcasts and our old videos, which are not so old, we did them this year, to get up to speed. And definitely in times of crisis, which is when people usually call me in, um, all this extra information makes a huge, huge difference. And having a staff that is not crawling on their bellies from exhaustion or not silently weeping in the bathroom because they don't want anybody to know how depressed they are, having that kind of a staff is a guarantee that the company is not going to continue to be prosperous, because everybody is vitalizing the business with their vectors, just like Elon Musk said. Everybody, if they're working for you, their energy is influencing your business. And if they don't love what they do, then maybe you need to reconsider. No matter how good they are, you may need to reconsider someone else, because at this time in Revelations, end times, weird times, it's hard for anything to succeed. And without the love of the object or the service or the company, it's going to be next to impossible to continue. My name is Frances Fox, and this podcast is under News from Other Dimensions. So go find that joy 2 inches below your belly button. And the beach is my number one recommendation. Thank you for listening.